Alright, good morning, listeners, or, I don't know what time it is underground. Alright, good, hello, listeners, and/or people on the forums. I am Kate, and this is Kate's Bunker. This is episode 1, so I'm guessing people are probably expecting me to introduce myself. It's tricky, because I might not do that, not in the extent to, podcasters, they usually go into, here's who I am, here's the thing I do besides this that I failed at, so I started a podcast, here's my real name, I'm gonna give away my real name and identity, like a fucking idiots give away everything about their lives, and give up their locations, and use their names, up top in the podcast. It's just, it's just setting yourself up to fail. It's real cute, right? Like, you want everyone to track you, fucking... I'm getting off on a tangent. Okay, start over. Alright, Kate, is not my real name. It's a common name. It's difficult to track. It's generic. I have a fake last name. I'm redacting it, though. I have a fake last name. I'm choosing to not disclose my fake last name. I will tell you my first fake name, but not my last fake name. You might ask yourself, why bother making up a last name if you're not going to tell anyone what it is? I'll tell you, added security. Okay? If you want to make things difficult for everyone trying to track you and your whereabouts, here's what you do. You pick a first name, okay? Preferably one of Judeo-Christian origin that millions of people have, alright? And then you make up a last name, okay? And you keep it in your thoughts, alright? You just make sure you tell no one what that is. I mean, think about it, but don't tell anyone, But just make sure you have it, It's like having an encrypted password on your real last name, It's not 100% fixed, but it does make it annoying for intelligence, and that gives you time to react, when you notice that they are attempting to follow you, right? Time is everything, time's not real, but you're here, okay, in the third dimension, we have to deal with time, or we will, in no uncertain terms, be murdered. We are required to comply with time, and that is fascism. If you're in a worst case scenario, this is why you have to do this. You do the thing with the last names. Your worst case scenario, someone is torturing you, and they're just doing the torture, and they're screaming at you, give me your name, tell me what your last name is, what do you mean you're redacting your name, I'm just gonna keep doing torture to you until you tell me your name. At that point, you do have something to say to them, but you never told anyone else what that is. What I'm saying is that you have a fake answer on deck for them, but in your regular life, you never told anybody what your fake last name is. I promise you that it helps, okay? And, and you have to keep these security measures in place, because you don't know. The shadow government just comes in and does whatever they want, with no accountability. Half the time, they're not even getting the people who know anything. They just don't care. They don't care. They just want to carry out their sick fucking experiments, so under no circumstances, tell them your real name. Don't do it. Don't tell them your real name. Have a fake last name on deck. I promise you, tried and true. And if you don't, you run the risk of being stretched out in some kind of fucked up torture thing, and you'll be just looking around the room trying to make up last names based on shit you're seeing. And you have to tell them a fake name when you're getting tortured, alright? So what are you gonna do if you don't have a fake last name on deck? You're just gonna be sitting there my last name is looking around my last name is Desky, or Pensilia, or McLamperson, or Torture Device Owski. And they're gonna catch on to that, and they're evil, but they're not stupid, okay? They're gonna get mad, they're gonna torture you some more. So, alright, so get a fake last name. Don't tell anybody what it is. If you get kidnapped, you'll thank me. So, if you're listening to this, you probably know me from several forums, especially on Bunker Chat, the Bunker Maintenance forums. In the event that you are new here, I currently live in a Series C4798138XY78888892 bunker. And we're underground, we're safe, we're hermetically sealed. Okay, that was something in the corner falling over, not the vent. The vent isn't falling over. Okay, the C4798113XY788882 is the top-notch bunker model, all right? And I know I fight a bunch of you guys about this on the bunker chat. I know some of you remember that little tiff I had with the moderators when someone was trying to tell me that the D5678903FHK77775 model was the better, and that my bunker is a old piece of shit that's not even old enough to be considered vintage. It's just an old shitbox. That's what the OP said. And you know, one thing led to another. Might have done some light doxing, and I got banned for 2 weeks. All right, and then all right, I get it. That was immature. But you know what else is immature? You know what else is immature? So, telling somebody that the place that you call home isn't good enough, alright? Is my home not good? It's my home, alright? It's not your space to judge me, okay? So, you know, if you're gonna judge my home, I'm gonna figure out where your home is, and I'm gonna mail a bunch of brown envelopes to your home with numbers counting down and see how you like it. And I'm only harsh because I'm right, alright? Okay, tangent again. Where was I? I wasn't anywhere. Shit. I guess there's one thing I should tell you about with this, you know, that if we're addressing the bunker, I gotta bring up the super. Alright, we have a building super here in the bunker that somehow, my landlord does not know exist. I don't know. My landlord, Chuck, I mean, he's cool and all, but, like, I don't know how he doesn't seem to have any grasp on the fact that there has been a building super inside of what's supposed to be a hermetically sealed bunker, just like fucking walking in and out. I don't know how this keeps happening, but I do have him and it's helpful, but you know, it's just like, it's tough. I need him to fix my shit because, as I said before, this is a top-of-the-line bunker. However, it's currently undergoing some restructuring since we recently saw a black helicopter. I mean, it was on the news, it wasn't here, but it was too close, so I need this super. But it's an obvious security threat that is here. I literally do not know how he keeps entering and exiting. This dude just keeps coming in and out. His English is pretty good, but not like 100%, so it causes some communications breakdowns between us, and I can't figure out where he's from. He's like Tommy Wiseau, like, but you know, like fucking with occasional Spanish and fixing the pipes. I don't even know why he's doing this. He has a lot of money. Like, this dude, he's like wearing a Rolex, and he's always like showing me vacation pictures and shit, but he's still here fixing the shitter every time I clog it. It's complete fucking mystery, dude. He dresses like total shit, but the clothes are major labels. Like, there's stains and holes all over fucking everything, and I don't know how he gets in. I just don't. Like, sometimes I consider locking myself out so I can see him let himself in, or I can see him let me in or something. But, like, if he's on vacation when I pull that, I'm fucked, and he's not always gonna answer his phone. You know, if I intentionally lock myself out and he's out of state and he doesn't answer the phone, then I'm just locked out of my own bunker. So shit. And he's always got the newest iPhone, by the way. I don't get it. But anyway, we need to up the security even more here, so I'm having him fix things, and sometimes he needs to fix things, because, at the moment, I'm going through a divorce, alright? The world is broken, alright? And sometimes your heart is broken, and then sometimes if you act out, or you need to process something, then the washing machine is broken. You know, it's a whole thing. Knowing everything I do about the world is stressful, and dealing my personal life, I can't trust a therapist with all my shit, you know, and you can't be perfect all the time, you know, you can't, you know, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I break things, sometimes I fucking break all of my, the building super fixes it, okay, and you know, and the landlord, like I said, he's okay. I'm not going to use his real name. I was using a fake name before, Chuck. That definitely works. I just keep saying stuff to him, and he keeps going like, I don't know what you're talking about, there's no super there, and I don't understand. You feel like your landlord would have a better sense of whether or not a man is breaking in and out of your hermetically sealed bunker to fix things, but I guess not. I guess, you know, whatever. I'm sure that he would come in less if I stopped breaking shit as much, but, you know, I can't. I can't always stop breaking things, because my heart is broken. By the truth. And by my ex-wife. So, Hi to everyone from Bunker Chat and the other forums I'm on. A special thank you to people who've been following me since the Angel Fire days. Even bigger thank you to the people who are still downloading Netscape so you can look at the old site content. God bless you, man. That's commitment. I mean, I'm sure we'll build more of a listener base over time as we keep releasing these, and, subscribe, rate me, do whatever, all of that helps boost this important information. People need to hear it. Not too many people, though. Not idiots. They're just gonna panic, and then some people, you don't want to have too many people, but, some people just deserve to die, Not a lot, but enough. And those people don't need to hear this, right? Anyway, we're going to try to keep these podcasts relatively short. I'm hoping for like a half hour, make it easy to digest. I'm not like Toe Hogan. I don't go for 5 to 7 fucking hours. I mean, he's a friend of the show. Toe Hogan's a friend of the show. I'm sure you're familiar with his, if you don't live under a rock, it's the #1 rated podcast, possibly cult of all time, the Toe Hogan reality. But I think we can all agree that shit's too long. And, we're close friends, but we disagree especially about the last name thing, and that upsets me, that he has a fake last name, but he keeps saying it out loud. Obviously, Toe Hogan's not a real name, but, he keeps saying it out loud, and this concerns me as his friend and as someone who cares about his health and safety, this isn't about right or wrong, right? I'm just worried about him, but I think that we can agree that nothing's worse than listening to a white man be wrong for 5 hours, but he's going to be on the show he's going to be on the show fairly frequently, though. I don't have that many other friends, alright? I don't have that many other friends. It doesn't matter how much I disagree with him, because I have no chance of this podcast getting popular unless I kiss the ring like everyone else. So, Toe Hogan, friend of the pod. Next week, he's going to be on. We're actually going to be planning to talk to him about a Lincolnism, or the theory that Abe Lincoln is not real, okay? This is a controversial one, but he's shown me evidence, and it's compelling. It's got, I'm not going to spoil episode 2, but it's got compelling evidence, it's got legs, and it's walking, so we're going to let it walk. Down to brass tacks. I'm sure you assumed that whatever we titled this episode today, we're going to be covering JFK. We're going to be covering the JFK assassination because, if you don't have a working JFK theory, who even are you? So this is probably redundant for a lot of people on the various forums I'm a member of. I've gotten banned trying to have this discourse a number of times, which I only don't fight because I primarily get banned for doxing and not the theory itself. Like, they know I'm not wrong, and I'm working on myself, and I'm trying to stop projecting all of my interpersonal problems. I'm sorry, off topic. So, JFK was killed by a tree. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off quick. JFK was killed by a tree. There's a lot of cooperation involved from the National Forest and a lot of negligence on behalf of the National Park Service, which we'll get into later, but at the end of the day, it was 1 tree and 5 words. Ancient Native American tree magic. Alright? Let that sink in. This theory comes under fire most frequently because the larger society does not acknowledge the existence of indigenous tree spirits, or for that matter, magic in general, and I think that we can all agree that this is a mistake, alright? Tree spirits are the original residents of this country and the least respected. They don't even receive assistance from the Native American sovereign states that acknowledge them and are supposed to be allied with them. And at one point, the Cherokee Nation was in talks to start pushing tree spirit concerns, but in the end, they decided that it would be damaging to their credibility to go publicly on record with that. Too risky. That's rough. They claim to respect their heritage, but nope. It seems like humans do nothing but fail. But most of the tree spirits don't take it personally, especially in the 1960s when this happened. The tribes can't even get their own needs met, let alone convince the government that magic is real. Alright? But there are some trees who feel as though their issues are always getting sidelined, and they've spent centuries trying to get a seat at the table. Well, maybe not a table, maybe get a seat at the This metaphor's got holes or fucking grass outside the window of the room where the table is, or what the fuck metaphor, I don't know. The point is that there's a radical group of Native American tree spirits that assassinates people that they perceive to be their enemies. They've got beefs and they execute them, and they manage to remain in tree form the entire time. And it's amazing that we haven't really addressed this. We keep trying to bury this because, human lives are on the line. But, most of the time the people that they attack, they have some kind of moral code. They are spirits, and most of the time the people that they attack are anti-environmentalists. But occasionally they'll just lash out at randoms. These tree spirits that form the Splinter group. God, I don't want to have puns on this. Anyway, the smaller group of trees, they're really insecure and paranoid. Sometimes it's impossible to convince them that everyone is not out to get them. The million-dollar question, of course, is how do I know this? I have a source. And unfortunately, I'm kind of this is going to make me sound like kind of a catch-22 because my source is always correct and extremely credible, but I can't disclose the identity of the source. Otherwise, he's going to be compromised, so you as the listener do not have any way of vetting the truth of the information that I'm receiving or this source's credibility at all. And, yeah, I can understand how that would be a problem. I have some other evidence, and a lot is this I have some other evidence. A lot of this is relying on my source, though, and I know that I'm running the risk of being called crazy and dangerously trusting of an anonymous source who started sending unsolicited drops of information on the bunker chat forums, but, sticks and stones. I don't, this is for me to put out there, and if you're gonna just sit here to hate listen to it, I don't know how to help you. The most important thing is that we get the truth out there, and I swear on my grandmother's grave, I would never lie to anyone about any of this. It is too important. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror at night. I'm not a liar. I don't lie to people. Shit, I have to take this. Fuck. Hello?
You fucking lied to me.
Oh, okay, Maya, calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down. What the fuck is your problem?
I'm sorry, Maya. I didn't mean to strand you like that. I just got some transmissions from my source saying it wasn't going to be safe to go outside because we're dealing with a lot of helicopter surveillance yesterday. Then I was getting shit signal down here, and the super couldn't fix it till the meeting was already fucking over.
You're paying the legal fees every time you pull something like this, right? Because I'm sure as hell not doing it.
Look, I'm sorry. Just reschedule the meeting, and I promise I'll sign the papers.
Your promises don't mean shit, Kate. If I don't have these signed in a week, I'm reporting you to the IRS.
Maya, no, you can't do that to me. I've never paid taxes. They'll fucking bury me.
Then sign the goddamn papers.
Look, Maya, I don't know if I feel comfortable putting my signature out there like that again. It's just like I don't know who's watching. Like,
you sign the marriage certificate, you can sign the divorce papers.
I did that for you, Maya. You said you wouldn't marry me unless I signed the marriage paperwork. And I did it because love requires sacrifice, Maya. Okay, maybe you should try it sometime.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Kate. I did tell you I wouldn't marry you if you didn't sign the marriage paperwork, because if you don't sign the marriage paperwork, you are not legally married. It's crazy.
Oh my God. You know what your problem is?
That I've known my whole life that white women are the devil, and I still married you.
Wow. I am not going to dignify that with a response. Fine. I'll sign your shitty papers, but, we could have had an off-the-books marriage, Maya. I don't need the government to tell me what real love is.
I loved you when I married you, but I still wasn't going to give up a tax break with all your bullshit.
No, I can't believe you're still paying taxes, all right? You're above all that bootlicking shit, Maya, all right? Stop living in a fucking fantasy world.
I don't give a shit if all your little conspiracies are true. You are a bad person.
Oh, yeah? Well, if I'm a bad person, then why did I answer the phone? All right? I'm communicating with you, Maya. It's not my fault. You don't like what I'm saying.
Wow. That's the dumbest shit you ever said to me. And you told me John F. Kennedy was killed by a tree.
That's the world we live in, Maya. Wake up!
Okay, sure, fine. I'll stop being a sheep. I'm gonna hang up and call the IRS now.
Bring it on, bitch! They'll never find me! I live in a C47981XY788882 bunker!
Okay, whatever. You're a bad person.
Maya? Did she just fucking hang God. It's just like it's every time with this shit. I swear to God, I can't be fucking. She doesn't even want to cooperate. She doesn't even want to try to make things work. And I just, how am I gonna fucking pay all these legal fees? I don't, now, shit. Fuck, I broke the pilot. Well, now I have to text the fucking super. The fucking pilot light's out. It's gonna be fucking freezing down. Alright, sorry about that. Am I gonna edit that out? No, fuck it. I'm not gonna edit that out. I'm not gonna edit that out. I don't really like editing. I don't like the idea of editing things out of podcasts. It makes me feel incomplete, or at least that's how it feels to me. Spiritually. It's my podcast. I do what I want. And, even if I miss her, and I really think if she could just look at the evidence, maybe we could just work things out, because it's like waking up with a phantom limb in the morning, her side of the bed is empty, but the leg got chopped off, the thing, it's just missing. It's like I miss the woman I love. So no, I don't edit things out of podcasts. I don't cry on podcasts. I've never cried on a podcast. I've never cried because I was on a phone call while I was recording a podcast. So JFK got on the bad side of the native tree spirits right after he was elected in 1960. Now, he didn't specifically do anything to piss the trees off. The trees were actually carrying this out. Susan Oswald, a woman who had been working on the Nixon campaign, Susan was both a Republican and a dendrophiliac. A dendrophiliac being a person who is sexually attracted to trees. All right. Now, I find this interesting because it created a really interesting split in her political ideology. When I was researching this episode, I found out from campaign documents that Susan would frequently get in heated arguments with her Republican colleagues regarding deforestation and other related environmental concerns, okay? And Susan felt that the conservation should be a bipartisan concern, and that she should be able to have a legally designated marriage with a tree, all right? And she got close, all right? Susan found a math error that ended up saving the Nixon campaign roughly $100,000. And, as a thank you, Nixon had promised Susan that he would sneak in a subclause about legal tree marriage into anything that he passed, probably something boring, something like tax related or whatever. But as we all know, Nixon narrowly lost this presidential race, which had been the closest one since 1916. Kennedy only led the popular vote by a little over a tenth of the percent. And after Nixon's 1960 loss, Susan just fell into a deep depressive episode. She abandoned her colleagues to be with the tree that she had intended to be with her husband and her adult son. Okay? After Nixon's 1960 loss, Susan fell into a deep depressive episode and abandoned her colleagues to be with the tree that she had intended to be her husband and her adult son. Okay. Susan Oswald's son's name was... The fuck was that?
You see me, blah.
Yo, dude. What's going on, man? What are you doing? Sorry, guys, this is the super I was talking about. You alright? What's going on?
You need the boiler fixed?
What? Yo, fuck. How long have you even been here? I didn't text you yet.
But you need the boiler fixed, though.
No, I do. I do need the.
If you need the boiler fixed, I need to move the couch.
Okay. Yeah. Well, look, fuck. All right, sure. I'll move the couch or whatever. Okay. How did you know that I needed the boiler fixed?
You thought you had the text when you were like, mi corazón.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. That's not the point, dude. How long have you been here?
Martes.
What?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. No, today's Tuesday. How long have you been here physically?
Like in the country?
I mean, how long have you been in this room? Have you just been standing around this whole? Did you see me break the pilot light or
I'm fixing the pilot light now.
No, I know. Okay, yeah, fine, great. But how long have you been here in this building?
Okay.
Okay, never mind. Can you just keep it down, though? Because I'm trying to fucking record a podcast. I just needed to be quiet,
Oh,
you know?
podcast. Like Scott Ackerman. Okay. Yo te had a podcast.
Yeah, it's something like that, you know?
come on. I love Denzel Washington is the greatest living actor of all time. Family podcast, man.
Okay,
Is
yeah.
it-
All right.
Is it,
All right,
Kamal,
can you keep quiet? Yeah, I really need you to keep quiet, dude. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be quiet like library mouse, mommy.
That's not, I guess a library mouse would be quiet. Thank you, though. I didn't want to have to take a cold shower. Thanks for fixing that, dude.
You finally showered?
I didn't say I wanted to take a cold, I didn't say it was time for me to shower. I just, whatever. We're off track, dude. I need to record.
Okay, after you record, I shower.
Oh, wait, no. I mean, I might...
Hold up, I gotta take the call. Manolo, dime.
Susan Oswald's son was named Tree Harvey Oswald. The truth no one wants you to hear is that, the supposed human killer of JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald, is actually a human-tree genetic hybrid conceived by Susan after she was impregnated by a druidic tree spirit. Alright? Susan's son, Tree Harvey Oswald, he was named Tree after his father and after his paternal grandfather, who was also Tree. But he adopted the nickname of Lee so he wouldn't get bullied in school. Alright? Bullying was a concern for Lee as his skin occasionally shapeshifts into a texture resembling tree bark, and at that age he wasn't able to control it yet. This is the kind of thing that tends to, settle down as the human tree hybrids, as they grow and they mature. And, I do actually have several photographs of Lee shapeshifting from my source, which unfortunately you can't see on the podcast. It's audio, obviously. I'm not going to talk to you like you're idiots, but there's a definite sign of flaking bark in many of these, especially around the eyes. In one picture, you can actually see something closely resembling lichen growing out of one ear. All right. And these are really great shots, and I'm going to be posting them to the Patreon, which we should have up in about a week. The tree, Lee Harvey Oswald, Tree, he was put in juvenile detention at the age of 7 for truancy after several lengthy absences related to the bullying. And in his youth, he managed to attend and quit 22 schools, right? And this is most frequently attributed to bad behavior, but the reality is that he was unable to keep his secret at any one school for more than a few months. Sometime around the age of 9 or 10, he'd gotten a little better at controlling the shape-shifting, but when his hormones shifted in puberty, all hell broke loose. Like 90% of the time, you can only imagine what the locker room was like. The kids are fucking monsters. It's just teenagers even worse. And anytime someone got too close to the truth, anytime someone saw him shapeshift, and anytime he lost control of his powers and harmed another student with tree magic, he had to leave for his own safety and for the safety of his parents. There are very few dendrophiliacs out there, but if it became known that a tree could conceive with a human, it would cause mass hysteria, and the Oswalds didn't want to have to be the ones to bear that burden. Eventually at 17 he joined the Marines, and his parents supported his decision despite his concerns that he would become, an ocean environment, not the best place for a human tree hybrid, but they were hoping that he would be able to reconcile that, in order to serve the country. And by the way, about half of this can be corroborated by Wikipedia and your standard historians of the time period, but the other half is from my source. What I just gave you, it's not really super relevant, as Tree's backstory is not what motivated the assassination. This whole thing wouldn't have happened at all were it not for his mother Susan's involvement in the Nixon campaign when he was running against Kennedy. Like, Tree, he never meant to be involved in any of this, but I'm trying to maintain as much journalistic integrity as I possibly can on this podcast, so I was going to give you his backstory, especially since I'm basing a lot of this on an anonymous source I can't verify, so it's okay as a person with a platform, just to say that the man known as Lee Harvey Oswald is the result of an unholy combination of human and tree DNA without providing any additional depth or context. I think I wouldn't be able to do that, and I think in the end we want us to all come away with knowing that Tree Harvey wasn't really the villain here, alright? like you said, he was a patsy, all right? But I'm getting ahead of myself. After Nixon lost the election, Susan Oswald was beside herself, right? She spent God knows how many months convincing Nixon to bring attention to the indigenous tree spirit concerns upon being sworn into office, and now she's left back at square one, you know? And in 1963, Susan is living outside, and at that point, she's living in the grasslands outside of Dallas, Texas, that are protected, air quotes, you can't see them, it's a podcast, but protected by the National Park Service, alright? Sarcasm. Park Service didn't protect shit. Otherwise, Kennedy would have served a full term in office, alright? So she's living next to an abandoned fire tower, next to the tree that she now has absolutely no hope that she'll ever legally marry. Well, I mean, she knew with her larger brain that legislature might be possible in the future, and then it could theoretically be easier to pass with the Democratic control of the executive branch. But at that point, she was in a major depressive spiral. You know, she was just black pill depressed, and she had no hope for anything. You know, least of all love. We've all been there. You know, and even before she was exclusively dating trees, Susan had a tendency to get involved with men who were very aloof and neglectful, and, you know, to put all this energy into supporting a man like Nixon and get nothing in return, that really sent her to a bad place. And to add insult to injury, you know, Kennedy's environmental promises were not all they were cracked up to be. You know, like, he talked a big talk, and this is a direct quote from Kennedy that I pulled from the internet by searching Kennedy environment quotes, so it's real. He was quoted as saying, "There isn't very much that you can do today that will materially alter your life in the next 3 to 4 years in the field of conservation, but you can build for the future. You can build for the future. You can build for the 70s, and our task is to make science the servant of conservation and devise new programs of land stewardship that will enable us to preserve this green environment." All right, end quote. That's what I pulled. Despite his efforts, it was later found that his push for hydropower was actually more damaging to the surrounding ecosystems than the pre-existing methods that they had. So, you know, fucking fossil fuel. This is Texas, you know. And I'm not going to get too off track. I'm not an environmental historian, but, you know, there's heavy consensus among conservationists that Kennedy wasn't really practicing what he preached, all right? Coming up short on the physical environment means absolutely no concern for the spiritual metaphysical environment, so no hope for the concerns of the tree spirits to receive any federal attention whatsoever, all right? Now, Susan hated everything Kennedy stood for, and the only thing she agreed with him about, the environment, he was fucking up. And, you know, in that black pill depressed state Susan was in, this just drove her into full homicidal rage, and she wanted to do anything she could to take him out. So, in November of 1963, Susan received word via her own sources that she had developed connections with while she was campaigning for Nixon, that in the near future, Kennedy was going to be in Dallas, on her turf. She viewed this as her only chance at revenge. So, Susan convinced her husband, Tree Sr., to use a particularly powerful ritual using all ley lines that cross the Texas grasslands to summon all the spirits of the rebel trees. Alright, so we're using ley lines, and we're going to be summoning all of the rebel tree spirits. Alright, so that's what she wanted to do. Now, here's where the extreme negligence of the National Park Service comes to play. Okay, they know about all of this. Alright, every single thing leading up to this assassination, they know. And, you know, there are things coming out lately about how, you know, most Air Force members have had some kind of contact with UFOs, right? Okay, it's the same as anyone who works in the national forests, especially the ones near the reservations. Most Park Service employees have had some kind of interaction with Native American tree spirits, right? It's an open secret. Honestly, it's real weird that it's not more common knowledge given how cavalier they are about it amongst themselves. My source actually waited until the record room was closed at the Lyndon B. Johnson National Grassland in Texas when they left, which wasn't even late. It was like 7 p.m. when these guys left. He just went through the back door. Like, they just left it wide open, and he found the file on the druids in the surrounding area with no effort. Like, none of the filing cabinets in that record room are locked, and that file looked like it had been sealed at one point, but the seal was already ripped off, and somebody had drawn Sharpie faces all over the trees and the pictures like it's some kind of fucking joke, you know? And there was shit about when they were planning the assassination. You know, it was in there. It's in the file. Why am I comfortable saying this in a recorded format? I'll tell you why. Because they don't care. in my opinion, they're not going to come for me or my source about any of this because they're fucking lazy. You know? Like, all the National Park Service wants to do is just smoke pot and hang out with the Native American tree spirits like a bunch of commie hippies, even though it's an obvious threat to national security. You know? It's clear to me that they themselves have no hostility to the government. You know, if that file was so poorly protected and damaged, obviously they just don't care. You know, they would never report any of this to the FBI simply because they don't feel like putting in the effort and they refuse to take this seriously. So I'm just sitting here with a full accordion folder of fucking documents dating back to Theodore Roosevelt's term. None of it's been reported, and it took me 6 hours to obtain. And neither I or my source really believe that they are going to miss it. You know, fine. You know, if you guys want your documents, you want your little folder in the tree spirits, fucking come and get it, guys. Send Smokey the Bear to come to the bunker, you fucking nature nerds. I don't give a fuck.
Hold on. Bears? You know we're not insured for bears, right?
Yeah,
you know, like, we can't have bears here.
Sorry, dude, I'm sorry. Apparently I set him off. Dude, no, I'm not talking about, like, real bears. There's no
like,
bears.
You can't have bear roommates here.
No.
Not after the last day. Then
we covered no pets in, well, no, I didn't cover that. That's right. Yeah, the no pets in the security deposit wasn't even with you. It was the landlord who doesn't believe that you exist. No matter how many times I tell you. But no, like, there's no pets here. I know that.
You can't have bears
Yeah, no,
here.
there's no
Like,
bears.
You can't even have, like, a big fat gay friend of yours.
Oh,
like, you can't have that kind of
okay. That is problematic.
That also breaks it's very specifically.
Okay.
It's very specifically language.
Okay.
I don't know why.
All right. I don't know when you learned that either. It's just like sometimes you forget basic words, and yet you seem to know so much about the gay community.
I mean, sometimes I speak good Spanish, sometimes
Okay.
it's Italian.
Okay. All right, the most important part we're trying to get here is that there's no bears coming. Smokey the Bear's not real, all right? Smokey the Bear's not real. He's a fictional character. He's a cartoon. It teaches children about forest fires, all right? Even if we wanted to reinforce this bunker against bears, that's not, like, bear traps are not a good idea. We would use bear talk. Like, we would just communicate with them using their own language, you know?
Bear talk.
Yeah, bear talk. Oh, I don't know why I'm just throwing stuff like this out there, like you know what it is. It's like, this is mostly shit we talk about in the forums. I'm actually glad that you brought that up, listeners. We are actually going to have Atticus Jones on from the Tohogan Reality Podcast. You may know him. He's an animal expert, kind of the contemporary Steve Irwin that didn't get stabbed or nothing. But we're gonna be having him on to talk about bear talk. We're gonna go over some different phrases that you can use that were previously kept secret by the fucking a-holes over at the National Park Service. But this is what you can do. You know, this is the way, human and bear, you know, this is the way that we can bridge the gap between man and beast and achieve some kind of understanding and also protect your campsite, okay? And that's very important. So, alright, dude. So, hold on. Did you fix the pilot light yet? Dude, hold on a second. Dude! Yo! You still here? Okay, the pilot light is fixed, and he's gone. And once again, I have no idea how he got out or how he got in the first place, and I definitely know how he got out while I was plugging episode 3. I was talking for less than 5 seconds. He's just fucking blows out of the fucking underground bunker like Batman. What the fuck is this? Alright, I'm getting kind of a sugar crash off this Off-Brown Mountain Dew thing. My listeners are probably smart enough to guess what happened with this setup, but like I said, we're trying to keep this relatively short. By the way, if you're just joining us, you're gonna be lost. I'm not gonna help you. I don't really know why they ever live stream this podcast, you know, and I keep listening because this is a lot of information really fast. It could help you to, you know, hear it twice, even if you don't understand it at all, you know, when you hear it the first time. But, you know, it's like that movie Memento, but I'm not catching up. If you want to be a traditionalist and you're streaming, just download this on iTunes later. Otherwise, just stay on. It'll only help you. Repetition, you know, it helps. That's basic neuroscience. So yeah, on to November 22nd, 1963. Again, not going to talk to you like you're idiots. Obviously, Susan wasn't going to do the deed herself, and obviously a tree can't shoot a gun, alright? So, the only tree who would be capable of channeling tree magic and shooting again would be a tree-human hybrid, alright? So, you know, first draft pick, obviously, Susan's son, Tree Jr. And like I said before, he didn't really want to do this, but you know, Tree can't shoot a gun, so you have to get a tree-human hybrid. There's not that many out there, and then this is the one that was closest to the family. He didn't really want to do this. His mother insisted, and the rebel tree spirits assured him that they would be present during the assassination, and that they had already performed a dark ritual to gain the ability to possess the trees surrounding Elm Street, where the presidential motorcade was planning to take place, alright? Which, again, major negligence on behalf of the National Park Service. There was an obvious pentagram burned into one of the picnic areas in the grasslands, and they did absolutely nothing but take selfies with it, alright? I have them! There's Polaroids of park rangers just drinking beer and daring themselves to go into a dark tree magic ritual circle. And it was just in use, too. You know, like, the smoke is still going. It's irresponsible, you know? Don't know how they sleep at night. Okay, so November 22nd, 1963. Alright, so this is real important. Elm Street, the name Elm Street, it's got nothing to do with it, alright? I've had a lot of people bring it up with me in the forums that a lot of streets are named after trees in Dallas, alright? That is completely irrelevant, okay? If you go to any major city in the country, any suburb, it's just gonna be lousy with fucking streets named after trees. You know, sometimes it's just cigars, just a cigar, guys. It's not all a conspiracy, right? Take your lithium, meditate, ground yourself. But the reason the trajectory of the bullet that killed Kennedy was so wild is that Tree Harvey is a bad shot, and he had to channel Native American tree magic to ensure that the bullet hit its target, alright? So, that term, magic bullet, that is used by conspiracy theorists who believe that the supposed trajectory of the bullet that killed the president was impossible and something different was at play, so, half right. There's actually a literal term for how that bullet was able to hit the target, because, you know, it needed magic, because Tree Harvey really couldn't hit the side of a fucking barn door, alright? He was an absolute garbage shot, no matter how hard he practiced, no matter how many times he went to the range. And ironically, that's probably due to his, his tree DNA limiting his depth perception. You know, obviously trees can't see super far. This is where it gets fucked up. The tree spirits promised protection for Tree Harvey, but when the heat on him got too strong, they just abandoned him. You know, they didn't want the Secret Service to find out that he was associated with Native American tree spirits. Otherwise, they would have no shot at all at having their agenda pushed on a local level, let alone the federal level. And not for nothing, there's a lot of, well, I don't think racism is the appropriate word here, but human tree hybrids do not have the same respect as full trees, so it's possible that, you know, due to the stigma, it could have been regarded as expendable, right? So, while they were all present during the assassination itself, once he was away from the scene of the crime, communications went dark. There was no assistance to be had. It dropped him cold. And the rest is history. You know, Tree Harvey had a violent outburst after he found out he was not going to get any protection from the rebel tree spirits. He committed another homicide, and then he himself was assassinated. And that, my friends, is the truth. The whole unfiltered truth that keeps getting me banned from countless corners of the internet that are supposed to be tolerant of outside-the-box thinking. You don't want to know what the most fucked up thing about all this is? Take a look at any pictures of the day of the assassination. Look, any single picture of the day of the assassination. Go on Google Images right now, type in JFK assassination, alright? And then look at this. There are trees in every single picture. And yet somehow no one has made the connection, even with clear photographic evidence that trees were present during every stage of the crime. Like, nobody seems to have made this connection. It's right there. It's staring you in the face. You know, I have every single published picture of the assassination, as well as 3 extras from my source, and I just find myself flipping through them. Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Like, boom, there's another tree. Boom, there's another tree. Boom, 3 trees. You know, just sitting around, watching them go through this and doing absolutely nothing, you know? And for reference, so you just don't go looking. I'm going to post all these to the Patreon with some footnotes on how the trees were positioned around Elm Street and other various strategic places in Dallas. And, you know, it makes my stomach turn. Especially because this wasn't Tree... Like I said before, this isn't Tree Harvey's beef. This is his mother's. He was a patsy, and he wasn't even really invested in this. He was just kind of doing this for his family and peer pressure, as many peers as you can have if you're a human tree hybrid. There's just so many pictures of trees along the presidential motorcade possessed by domestic terrorist tree spirits, all standing by, watching this happen, knowing full well they were going to abandon him if he got too much heat from the feds when it was over, And Susan had radicalized them to the point where they felt that her son would be a necessary casualty if it came down to it. I don't have any kids, I don't want to judge parents. I know parenting's complicated, and I don't really feel qualified to comment, but you shouldn't exploit your children like that. It's like the crow says, mother is the name for God in the lips and hearts of all children. Don't use that emotional bond to pressure your kids into risky behavior. That's just not fair, all right? If you got kids, hug them. That's all I'm gonna say. Just be glad that you have somebody in your life at all. I sure say, hug your kids. Hug your kids, and don't tell them to kill the president. All right. All right. So. All right. I just remembered that I lost my trade paperback of The Crow and the divorce, and I'm real depressed. So I'm gonna end it here. Sorry if it's kind of abrupt. But so is my wife leaving me. We all have our crosses to bear. Deal with it. Thanks for listening. We're going to have Toe Hogan on next week. And like, share, subscribe, and check out the Patreon. And tune in. Toe Hogan, we're going to be talking about a Lincolnism. Thank you. And keep questioning.